How did it get this bad? That's a question that I've asked myself, and that's the question that many of those who I've talked to, who I love and trust, have also asked me. There's no real single answer to that question. It's kind of a series of things, but it's not really that comfortable to answer, but I'm going to try and talk about it a little bit. When I started this journey, I weighed in at 490 pounds. Now, a lot of folks don't want to disclose that because it's embarrassing and because there's a lot of shame associated with having your weight be that high. And the only reason I share it here is because I'm trying to break through the cycle of shame and embarrassment about my history, because I'm hoping that from now on that's going to be just the past for me and it's not a part of my future. There are so many reasons why my weight got that bad and got out of control, but the three main areas I think that are responsible for it are psychological, environmental, and physiological. On the psychological front, the past few years have not been very easy for me and in our family. We've gone through some things that were seriously very difficult, very traumatic, and I'm not going to go into those details here, but there were some very, very difficult times that we as a family have gone through that have really, really put a strain on me, my mental health, and just been very, very stressful to deal with, which just caused me to spiral. And food is a coping mechanism for me. So if I feel overwhelmed or stressed, a lot of times I turn to food as a way for release. And so if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm finding myself driving to the store and buying things that I should not eat and eating them in larger quantities than are good for any normal person to eat. And so, that's a huge factor into it. There's also an environmental factor. I am a parent of kids who don't always want to eat healthy options. And a lot of times for them, what they think is what they want to eat are not good things. And for us as a parent, we don't always want to fight a battle over what the next meal is. So we buy the sweets and the junk food and the things that we probably shouldn't have, but we do it to appease them. But then the temptation is there. Oh, well, there's, a case of granola bars. There's all these other things. There's chocolate. There's chips. There's all these other things, and it's there. So, you want to eat it. And so that's part of it. Then there's also physiological factors that contribute to it. I wasn't always so morbidly obese. I was a athlete as a younger person. I played baseball, basketball, football coming up. I was a swimmer in high school for a little bit, and I was pretty active. Even though I was always big, I was always active. And unfortunately, playing contact sports when I was younger did a real number on my knees in particular, and it makes it very difficult for me to get around, and because they're very, very painful. And actually, at 43, I have one knee that for sure is ready to have a knee replacement already, and so it's that's part of the reason too. But there's no one signature event, one moment in time that I can point to where things kind of took a turn for me. It's all gradually as things get farther and farther out of control, and as you feel helpless, you just kind of surrender to it and give in and say, well, this is just how my life is. But one of the things that I've realized over the course of the last year is that I don't have to resign myself to half a life. I think for a long time I had just given myself over to the idea that I wasn't going to be able to live the same kind of life that other people do, that I was just going to have to make do with less. And I just tried to make peace with that. But I don't want to have to do more with less. I don't want to have to resign myself to not being able to do the things that I want to do because of the physical limitations that I have because of my weight. And so that's why I've really taken the steps over the last year to start moving in a different direction, and setting goals and dreams for myself and for my family that I never would have thought possible over the last few years. And I'm really excited about what the future holds now, and I didn't for a long time. So if you've made it this long, over 5 minutes, and you're kind of in the same situation, I would just encourage you to think about whether you have accepted less with your life. And maybe it's time for you to start thinking about what is possible and what could be done, and start working towards that. It may not mean that surgery is going to be the answer for you. Surgery is not a Swiss Army knife. It doesn't work in all situations, and it's not the right thing for everybody. But there's no reason to wait another day and accept this half a life for one day longer than you have to. So that's my encouragement. Follow for more.